Time to kill is a complicated topic to tackle, and I don't know if I'm the one to tackle it. I mean, I'm kind of famous on YouTube for giving hardcore players in Call of Duty a hard time about their favorite game mode. Not really hardcore players in general, just the ones that think that they're playing an actually hardcore game, or a game that's harder than the traditional modes. Because, let's face it, lower time to kill games are, in essence, easier. But of course, there's two schools of thought on this, and both thoughts have a lot of damn merit. But unfortunately, and we'll get to this soon, there is something people leave out entirely when discussing time to kill. Spoilers, it has something to do with the way the weapons work. But let's get my opinion out of the way. In my opinion, if it is easy to die, that means it's easy to get a kill. This is why I don't think hardcore mode in Call of Duty is very hardcore, very serious, or very skill-based. You might say, well, it's because it's easy to die. You can get caught by a stray bullet and be taken out. That can make trying to complete some tasks a little bit harder, but it doesn't make it more skill-based. But the reason you're having a hard time in Call of Duty hardcore mode is because of how easy it is for everyone else to kill you. You see, this is that FPS paradox situation. It's hard because you're dying fast, but it's easy because they're killing fast. And that goes round and round and round and round and round. So what is the missing link from the topic? It's of course recoil, spread, bloom, and other mechanics. And I hate to sound condescending, but duh. The reason Call of Duty hardcore mode feels so low skill to me is because the weapons in Call of Duty are designed to be accessible and intuitive and very easy to learn. Even the hardest weapons in Call of Duty history have a relatively low skill ceiling compared to almost any other weapons in AAA shooters. Which is why hardcore, in my opinion, is easy. Yes, it can be hard with how many times you're dying, but in general, everyone's using hyper easy weapons in an environment where balance hasn't really been taken into account. Everybody's health is just reduced. So a weapon that was supposed to be a skill-based 2-shot to the head now becomes a 1-shot to your foot. Melee strikes that usually have to happen twice happen once to your shin, and a pistol that should require 3 shots to your stomach ends up requiring 1 shot to your hand. And I just don't think you can call that skill-based when you're essentially able to, in Call of Duty, come out of sprint very, very quickly and just start spraying 1-shot killing ammunition all over the place at high RPM. Yes, it's easy for you to die, and that makes the game hard, and that's where people get confused, because that means the game's hard. It can be hard because of how easy it is. Hopefully that makes sense. You're fighting real people, not computers. Let's move on. Other games handle time to kill differently. You can't talk about time to kill without talking about the king of time to kill, Halo. Halo's skill gap is wrapped around the time to kill, not because it takes more bullets to kill, but because to kill very quickly, you have to understand the game, its mechanics, and of course have good positioning. Like the time to kill in Halo, if you are just taking a single weapon and pumping bullets into somebody, that's pretty slow. But if you add in a grenade, a plasma pistol, you add in some other sort of combo tool, and Halo becomes a very fast TTK game. Some things in Halo take more skill than others. I think perfectly bouncing a grenade into somebody's face as they round a corner so that you can one-shot them, that takes a bit of timing and skill. But of course, walking around with a charged plasma pistol ready to strip somebody's shields, well, we call that a noob combo for a reason when we combine that with a pistol or rifle that can one-shot somebody to the head. And of course, not every kill you get in a longer time to kill game is going to be because you're so skill-based, because when you have a longer time to kill game, what players end up doing, especially if they can coordinate, is they stick together and they work on team-shotting their opponents. If you're playing Halo by yourself, you might not have experienced the joy of calling out an enemy position and then you and your 2 friends focus fire on that one person. What would once be a 5-burst kill for you turns into 3 simultaneous bursts, and whoever lands the last one can clean up the kill. Oh, and in case you're worried that I don't know what I'm talking about, I read Game Informer. Then the skill really isn't about how many bullets you're putting into somebody and the overall time to kill or time to die. It turns into, let's not walk into that situation again, and if you're the people team-shotting, let's create that situation as many times as possible. Which of course, again, requires awareness of where you're standing and what you're doing, And that's frustrating sometimes because it's not always possible in a very sweaty match, especially when you're solo queuing, to pair with people. But I have a whole other video coming out about solo queuing, and that's gonna be a nightmare in the comment section. You see, just like hardcore Call of Duty players, some of them, seem to think they're playing the harder game mode, some Halo players think they're playing the harder game because their time to kill's longer. When a lot of times, that longer time to kill is only there if you're not able to do very simple and easy to learn combination moves. Again, in Halo Infinite, the pulse carbine is seen as pretty trash, but if you know how to use it at mid-range, it's an amazing shield stripping tool. And when combined with a sidekick, commando, BR, it can be very devastating to go up against. This is where games get messy. You see, in Halo, players that are good at the game are going to be taking advantage of things that allow them to dispatch you as fast as possible all the time. Like, that's gonna be their main thing. That's all they're gonna wanna do. So constantly combo weapons together, stick next to teammates, call out, coordinate with friends, and suddenly gunfights aren't really the issue anymore. It's not about the gunfight, it's about the moments before. It's not about the gunfight, it's about who you're getting into the gunfight with. And that, in my opinion, takes this conversation from time to kill to overall tactics. So let's move on to something like Insurgency Sandstorm. A very fast time to kill does this game have, and, well, makes sense. It's sort of a Twitch milsim. That's the best way I can put it. It's intuitive and snappy, but it's supposed to be more of a tactical military simulation where one stray bullet can take your head off, and there's not much you can do to stop it, and there's not much you can say after it happens. Insurgency Sandstorm allows you to die in one shot, so the gunplay must be pretty easy, right? Well, no. Weapons have idle sway, weapons have a lot of recoil, so while theoretically you could get a kill with every single bullet in your AK's magazine, you're gonna have to time those shots, swap the gun over to semi-auto at longer ranges, and learn to control in short bursts. On top of that, console aiming is stiff, and again, the idle sway and recoil makes even a keyboard and mouse user have to think a little bit before taking each shot. On top of that, the game has a very low, almost unnoticeable aim assist on console, so when you are playing, you're gonna have to be lining up shots, left stick aiming, prepping, pre-aiming, just it's a lot to get consistent kills in a game that theoretically, based on what I said about Call of Duty Hardcore, it should be faster, so therefore easier, right? But all of the other mechanics combined with it really are what affect the time to kill. And I think this is the point I wanted to make in this video. Time to kill really isn't a discussion about aim the gun, put the sight on the guy and shoot. It really comes down to how versatile are the weapons, how low recoil are the weapons, how easy are the weapons to use, how many combos can be abused, is team shotting absolutely necessary? Those are the topics that truly matter. But just like watching a movie like Freddy vs. Jason or Godzilla vs. King Kong, it's not fun unless you have a definite winner. You want to know, boom, what do you think requires the most skill? And I think, well, any game that requires you to land multiple shots, any game that requires you to aim for the head, is going to be a game that I end up deeming to be of a higher skill level, at least when it comes to the requirements of winning. Yeah, it might be annoying when you put a lot of bullets into somebody and they don't die, but that means that you have to be more accurate, you have to pace your shots, you have to tap fire at a range, and that seems pretty obvious, and yet I still see people talking about this all the time. And people accidentally end up outing themselves as being kind of bad at aiming, something I know the feeling of being, but I mean, when somebody says they have to put half a mag at somebody to kill them in Call of Duty, all I can think is, most guns in Call of Duty kill in under 5 shots. So if you're needing more than 6, you are doing something pretty terribly wrong. The thing about a longer time to kill, longer than Call of Duty, something more in line with Halo, is that engagements are dances, they're chess matches. They are asking way more questions throughout the gunfight. And the problem is with that, a lot of random stuff can come and screw you over. I mean, in Halo, it's very common to win a gunfight with very little shield remaining or very little health remaining. Somebody comes around the corner, puts one bullet into you, and you die. You stupid idiot, you shouldn't have been in that gunfight earlier, right? Like I said, the longer a gunfight is going on, the more questions you're asking the environment, and it gives it a lot more time to give you frustrating answers. Meanwhile, in something like Call of Duty, you could be very severely injured, but because of the nature of most guns and engagements, you could be at exactly 1 HP and still manage to kill 4 people. Of course, all they would have to do is sneeze on you to kill you, but you have the ability to fight back almost no matter what. And I think that's what's been drawing people to games like Call of Duty for years, is that even when you're disadvantaged, everything's fast and fluid enough that you could still put up a fight. Whereas in Halo, the most you could do is get one shot in, or throw a grenade, or do some Hail Mary thing just before your last moments. Again, the topic of TTK is so one-dimensional. And in Insurgency, there's such a limited number of lives in so many of the game modes that randomly getting hit by a bullet and dying means you just hurt your team's chances of actually winning the game with every death you have. So the definitive winner in the game of TTK is tactics. You ever wake up in the morning looking for a cop-out? Every single shooter has its own time to kill, its own weapon mechanics, its own team play mechanics, and each one of them is going to emphasize different styles of play. I think in general, a longer time to kill promotes more mechanical knowledge, more game sense, more skill and accuracy. But trying to stay alive and help your team by being an asset when you can be killed in like 100 milliseconds, that's its own skill. Tactics are the answer to the time to kill question. What does the game require of its players? What's the punishment for dying? What's the reward for killing? Is there a reward for staying alive? How do you stay alive? What are the maps like? What are the weapons like? All of this comes into play. I can't talk about time to kill unless we also talk about flinch or map design. I can't talk about time to kill unless we also talk about recoil and bloom and spread. If you think Halo has a long time to kill, you'd be right. But if you think it can't have a faster one, then you just don't know what you're doing yet. I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.